I'm tired of you bossing me around. I'm sick of your antics. And now, I'm gonna overthrow you.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you.
Ladies, I hope you spent a great time with their families during Thanksgiving break. But now we're back in the office, and you know what it means. We gotta work harder than ever before. End of the year's coming up. Quarter 4 is wrapping up. We gotta finish out strong. What are we doing this week? What are we doing this week?
So this week we're thinking we're gonna make a crane that will like pick up the debris and that's in the way of the ship, and then it's gonna throw it way out of the way. We use multiple joints in order to get better, just to make it be able to better throw the debris out of the way to prevent any harm in the future to the ship.
I feel like if we're just throwing debris out of the way, doesn't that just either harm the environment or just not like clean up? It's just moving stuff out of the way to a different place.
I mean, in a way, yes, we may have to run into it again, but I don't really think that's going to be a huge issue because this system is going to be very effective. So hopefully we don't have to go through that path again, but if we do, it's very good at what it does. So.
Alright. So why exactly are we doing this?
Because all the debris could make it could make the ship rock while trying to move over it and stuff, and it could also pop the tires of the ship, so it could save on repairs and stuff.
I have a certain question I'm just thinking about here while y'all have been explaining. How are we gonna be able to maintain it, maintenance wise, with all the hot temperatures and the cold temperatures on Mars? Wouldn't that mess up the joints and stuff?
Well, we have temperature sensors that we use in earlier projects. Maybe we can use those to make sure that we don't use it when it's overheated or when it's too cold for it to move. We can have systems that'll help it regulate its temperature as well, maybe.
Okay.
Gavin, how are we doing this? We need to get some specifics here.
Okay, so I'm thinking of using a laser finder to detect if there's some object in the way, and then using a color sensor to determine if it's a piece of debris or not. And then if it is debris, we can drive the robot over there and then take a magnet at the end of an arm and grab it and then chuck it into the stratosphere.
I like where it's going. I gotta make a few business calls. Ladies, get to work.
Hey, so Drew, I know this is a pretty big project that we have this week. Can you explain further why we need it for safety reasons?
Okay, so you know how all the debris and stuff from the meteors just hits out onto the surface? That
Right.
makes a really rough surface for the ship to go over.
Right.
So it could rock the ship when it moves over it, or it could pop the tires, which would cost a lot to replace because they're massive.
Yeah, that could damage insides of the ship, and I think it's just a good idea to try to avoid that entirely if we can. And I
Yeah.
think that's why this is a really good part of the project that we're doing. Hey, so I know we have a few options with where we should put this debris. I know, Gavin, you already recommended that once we grab the trash or the debris, we should just throw it right into the stratosphere. But does anybody else have any other ideas that might work?
I feel like the whole idea of just chuck it into space requires either a lot of power from the arm itself, which would in turn be a lot of energy, or just I feel like it would cause a decent amount of space pollution. How would we even get our passengers to Mars itself?
I mean, getting the passengers to Mars itself is a whole nother issue.
It's not our issue.
It's not our issue. Remember, our target audience is rich people. But I agree with Gavin. If we have a strong enough motor with an accurate release point, we should be able to toss the trash to where it breaks.
Way out of our way.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks the atmosphere and then goes off into space. And if it happens so, that we do it at the right time, we could probably make it so it infinitely travels into the sun and burns.
There should also be a thinner atmosphere, so it's different from doing it on Earth. It should be much easier. And the gravitational pull is a little less as strong as well.
Any other ideas for the where we should put the trash itself?
I know Drew brought up an idea about putting it in a container. Do you want to explain that idea anymore? Or?
Instead of putting it to a container, I was thinking maybe just move it out of the way of the ship because it'll just be going from point A to point B. So it has one route that it will just do indefinitely. So we can just move it out of the way and never run into it again.
Yeah, but what if we need to like make a tight turn or something? There's an issue. We don't want all that trash to be piled up on the side, and then we have to run into it. I think it's a good idea to just forget about it entirely. Hey, so Maffey, do you know if we need to make like a list of what everybody needs to do? So I know Colton still needs to make some edits on the video, and Gavin needs to work on the programming. But do you know what Drew and Colton still need, or Drew and Trent still need to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we should kind of have a checklist where we make sure everyone's kind of keeping up with their responsibilities.
Yeah.
Just because then it becomes like, oh, one person's doing kind of all the work.
Make sure everything gets done.
Yeah, everything gets done to make sure we always get like everything on the assignment.
I guess
Just
we
follow
could have
rubric.
Drew like keep analyzing the safety, why we need this for safety, and Trent can maybe work with Gavin on trying to develop the code too. That might be useful.
Yeah.
That might be useful.
I mean, Trent's been Trent's been learning from Gavin on some
and
of
it's
the
pretty
coding
complicated,
stuff.
so we probably need help.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a
yeah.
checklist.
Dear Santa, I would really love it if something could be done about my CEO, Matthew. He has been a naughty little boy, if you ask me. If I were to kidnap him or something, would you take him to the North Pole and make him an elf for me? Thanks. P.S. Make sure he works overtime. I would love that. Best regards, the nerd.
Yo, what ideas are we doing for the code?
Okay, so for the code, I was thinking that we could add some obstacles in a simulation along the path to in between the ports, and then have the robot clean up the path and to find all the objects and fling them into the stratosphere and then meet the endpoint as well.
All right.
Hey, so Gavin, wait, I had a question about that actually. So are you gonna have the motors both spin at the same time so we can generate more power so we can fling it farther? Or did you just want to use do you want to have the motor go up and then fling it, or do you want to use both at the same time?
I'll use all the motors in the arm. There's gonna be a few joints, and then
How many? Since realistically, being able to throw it up into space is kind of hard. With only two.
well, there's probably gonna be around 4 joints, so it can grab it more easily.
Yeah, and also there's less gravity on Mars too than on Earth. Yeah, it's quite a bit. It's still quite a bit of force, but it's definitely easier than it would be on Earth too.
We could make the arm wind it up to like.
Great demonstration, Gavin. I must say.
Thank you for elaborating.
Hey, Colton, keep the volume down, but I really need this one flash drive for Matt for a project of mine.
Okay.
And I need your help. You know how he's being a mini poopy pants recently?
Yeah, I don't like him for it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna need you to help distract him and talk about CapCut Pro.
Yeah, I can do that.
Whatever that is you use,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to get the flash drive.
Hey, Matt V, I got some stuff I need to talk to you about. So,
What do we need to talk about?
just like CapCut, and I need to talk about how I need more funding so I can get Pro, so then I can do more stuff in editing so we can have better videos.
What's wrong with just the free version? I thought we were making videos just using what we had.
It's good. It's just I can make it even better with the Pro.
We'll see how we finish out the year, and maybe starting next year we can maybe use CapCut Pro.
Okay, thank you. Oh yeah.
Okay. I have the flash drive. It's very compact, you see?
That's all the evidence incriminating against Matt V. He's gonna be so cooked after this. He's not gonna be holding up in court after I pull this one on him. It has all the information against him. Everything I need.
Hey, so I'm working on the document now. Do you think we should include a lot about how there's so much debris on the surface of Mars we really need to avoid in order to keep the ship safe?
Yeah, because I mean that's really like the only reason we're making this, so we
Right.
need to emphasize why we're doing it.
Right. I think that's, yeah, 'cause it's very dangerous for the ship to have to go over that terrain. I think it's best that we just try to avoid it at all
Yeah.
possible. All right.
Didn't you want my help on figuring out how to detect debris? Like how to figure out what to do there? I think I'm actually.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna detect the debris using laser sensors. So when we get close enough to the debris, once it comes within a certain range, then we'll initiate the picking
But I
up
felt it
process.
was right. So we're gonna. How's that gonna like work with being on the robot? Like, is that gonna? Oh my God!
We'll
You
make
didn't
the
catch me
debris on
doing
top
that.
of the robot with a magnet on it. Pick up the debris and then
He said everything's consensual if you
Throw
don't
it.
respect. Thank you for the demonstration.
you're
And then he
welcome.
said everything's
My
consensual
pleasure.
if you don't ask.
Oh,
No! He's in a point. He does. He has somewhat of innocent. Not getting consent is entirely no.
If you gag them, they don't say no. If you gag them,
See what's going on.
Yeah. Look at all these evidences against Matt. Look, this is not gonna. He's gonna be cooked in court.
You're gonna be able to take the manager.
Okay. I've done a little bit of work, but I need to make sure my team's kind of doing something. I should probably check up on everyone. So, Cole,
Yeah.
what are you doing right now?
Well, I don't know what Gavin's doing right now. He's kind of just doing stuff. I don't know. But while
I'll
he's,
talk to him later.
Yeah, well, he's busy. I'm just writing comments on the code, make sure that we know what's going on here. Just trying to figure out what everything is supposed to do in the code, how it functions together.
Mhm. And I think Drew's just working on the document, so we'll leave him
Yeah.
alone for now. Gavin, I think you need to go sit down and kind of walk through with Cole one more time on the code to make sure we kind of know what everything's going on. Can you do that for me?
Okay, I'll do that.
Perfect. I think I did a successful job as CEO, as we have everyone being as productive as we can be, so we can finish everything before the deadlines. This is what we like to be, a very kind of dialed in, focused up team that can do its work when it needs to be. Thank you.
Today we have another coding presentation by none other than the nerd. You may be wondering where I am right now. You may think I'm on the ground, but nope. I'm just in a tree. So, the reason I'm in a tree is because I'm looking for any signs of Santa, because he's gonna be coming in 19 days. So, I better get ready on Christmas, I could be looking up at the sky to see if I could see him, you know? Anyways, this robot, it's supposed to get from point A to point B, but there's obstacles in its path. So it uses these three laser sensors, and then it detects the object, and once it's close enough, it picks it up and it chucks it into the stratosphere, or just really far away. Like as we see here. Home run. And it has to do a little few spins afterward in order to reset its degrees, so it's ready in case there's another obstacle in its path. Then it could just restart the function. Like how it's doing it here. It's spinning around, getting to 0 degrees. And if we go see how this works in coding, Oh, I messed it up a little. My bad. Okay. So, it starts by moving forward, and then before it reaches this X coordinate, it does this whole function, which basically checks if there's anything in front of the robot. And if there is, then it activates the magnet, then it spins around the arm, and then lets go of it. And then after it chucks the object, it goes back to moving forward again. So it could rinse and repeat that. So that's what these green things do. So just move forward, check if there's something in the way, and then it alters the path, turn right a little bit, checks if there's something in the way. Well, it turns left in the beginning, and then it turns right. Yeah, this is just making sure it can get to the point, you know. That's the code, and there you have it.
Okay, so Gavin.
Yep.
Anyway, so I know this week we had some issues with the robot, like mechanical issues and coding issues. So I know one thing we had was we initially tried to use too many arms on the robot, and I know it led to mechanical issues where the arm wasn't able to lift up because there was just too much stress on it, too much weight.
Exactly.
And then I think the best solution to that was really just reducing the amount of arms, because it shouldn't be necessary to have that many arms. I know we wanted to generate much force to throw the objects, but I think overall this was a better solution than just trying to make that work regardless. Simplicity is best, I think.
And another issue we had was the color sensor doesn't detect like a laser sensor. So instead of having to confirm if something is not orange, which would mean it's a part of the Mars environment, then I just made the we just made the laser sensor like a shorter distance.
Right, because because color sensor doesn't really detect from a distance like the laser sensor can. So I think it's just that we realize that there is objects there, and then detect if we need to.
Ladies, it's been a tough week coming back from all this Thanksgiving break. We know the cold front is upon us. Everyone's wanting to stay snuggled up in bed. We don't want to get up in the morning, especially I don't. But it's the end of the week. Time for reflections. We're gonna start with Gavin. What did you learn this week?
So this week, I learned how to make the magnet function work. I learned how to grab stuff, you know.
Cole?
Well, this week I learned a lot about how, especially when Gavin was having difficulties with coding, I learned how I could help take up more responsibility with that, and how I can apply maybe a second view in order to help us achieve our goals.
How did you make it weaker?
Trent? I learned on how to manage the team well, and so that we can hit deadlines easily, since, you know, we're doing it a lot earlier than usual. So that's great, and learn how to, you know, be on task.
Awesome. Colton?
I learned how to have a new recording process to make it easier on myself to get my job done.
And last but not least, Drew.
I learned how to collaborate with my peers and share ideas to get the best possible product.
I like that one. What I learned this week was just kind of how to manage the team so everyone's not being like overbearing with like having to do so much work and stuff like that, so everything is well balanced and get all the kind of what you said, get everything done before the deadlines come. All right, awesome. Let's get out of here.
So they're gone? Yeah. It's go time.
Hey y'all. So, I have a proposition. Mappy, he's been like a dictator recently, but now I've got some evidence against him in the form of a flash drive. So, I'm thinking that we could rise up against him, and then soon we can't take control of the group.
Who's going to take over the company?
I guess I will. I mean,
He often knows what's going on.
who else would?
I think the smartest guy should lead the group.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Don't tell Mappy about this.
That was funny on it.
The bag's out of the cat. Wrong way. Wait, I mean the cat's out of the you know what I mean.